Eurostep podcast, Eurostep, 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 Eurostepping on the fast break.
Gentlemen, gentlewomen, you're now listening to the Eurostep podcast, and we're coming to you from France. Once again, y'all gonna have to excuse me this week while I diversify my clientele, but I got a rapper today, but don't worry. He used to hoop, man, had major game for those that don't know, but I'm sure all the hoop heads know, but please give a nice Eurostep welcome for my man GQ, aka Quentin Thomas. Yo, what up, Q?
What's going on, man? What's going on? I'm chilling, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, I gotta ask you though, like, if the fate of humanity relied on it, would we rather have you do a Eurostep or would we rather have you turf dancing? Like, what's up?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. I think I could go with either or.
Either or,
any good. Either or any given day. But I mean, turf dancing was something I did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That was just part of growing up in Oakland and stuff,
right.
Part of the culture. So I probably don't have it like I used to. And I got no partners that got it way better than me. But I'll go with the Eurostep just to play it safe. I'll go with the Eurostep.
Nah, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's funny, man, because I got major love from the Bay. I'm from Southern California, but I hooped at Stanford, so I got that Bay life during the hyphy movement. Movement, man, and I fell in love, dude. I love the Bay, man. There's just something special about it. I'm from Southern Cali, but I love the people in the Bay much more, man. They more like down to earth or something, man. You see the same thing?
I think it's just. I mean, it's home, so I could see it differently, but I just think we have good people back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have it's just a vibe. I think it's just the energy and the vibe that people feel when they come, whether it be to Oakland or the Bay Area. So I think it's just the vibe, and it reflects from the people. So that's a good thing, though.
Without a doubt. And I also got to mention, man, like, the other day, it was like 2-3 days ago, Stanford got smacked by North Carolina, man. It was
I was watching it. I was watching it.
Hey, man, I was bumping my gums to MG right before the game, man. I hit Marcus on Facebook. Like, I was about to put some money down, and then I woke up in the morning. He didn't respond. I woke up in the morning. I was like, ooh, I dodged a bullet. Y'all boys came in there, man, like that was y'all home or something.
No, it was good to see, especially just with Coach Hass, who's the head coach of Stanford now, who used to be assistant coach for Carolina. And, Coach Hass is great people, great coach. So, I know Stanford is in good hands with him at the reins. And, just being a Tar Heel, of course, it's just always cool when I could have the time to sit and watch my boys play. So I'm excited for them this year, off of a national championship win. So, hopefully we could see if we could get back forward and get to the floor and possibly do it again.
Right. Now, that's one thing I've noticed, man, is you Tar Heels, man, y'all are definitely like a family, man. God been putting a lot of Tar Heels in my life over the last few years. I don't know why, but, Marcus, and Alex Stevenson, and Brennan Haywood, like I told you earlier, man, like all of y'all great people, though, man, so far, man. So I ain't got nothing bad to say about the Tar Heels except the other night, man. I ain't got nothing bad.
It definitely is It definitely is like a family. You hear it a lot, whether it be with sports or any type of organization. But it really is a family. I still talk to a lot of the people that I played with, from Marvin Williams to Danny Green to Wayne Ellington, to David Noel, Jawad Williams. Like, we stay close knit, and for me, especially with that 05 squad, me and Marvin being the youngest on that team, like I was like the baby. You know what I'm saying? So they always looked at me like a little brother. And I always looked up to them as big brothers. And it's funny how in those 4 years that role kind of switched. So that when I became the senior or the junior or senior, and I had, a few of those guys looking up to me. And it was cool, though, because it was a respect factor, and I always wanted to have the best for my teammates, Me and Marcus still talk all the time, often. I check on him, and, just the other day, he was just telling me how proud he was of me and different things like that, man. So on and off the court, we always want the best for each other. So that's real cool.
Yeah, nah, that's dope, man. It's dope to see that brotherhood, man. But you know, I gotta, excuse me, I gotta show you some respect, man, because I've always been a hoop head. I was always in the rankings in high school and all that other stuff. You was a year ahead of me though, but I always
Okay.
knew who the top guards in Cali was, and I watched the interviews and you rapping now. People be like, oh, you went to UNC and he hoop, but they don't really understand what kind of talent you was like coming out of high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
you played with Leon Poe, Armando Surratt was a monster. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, y'all
Right.
had talent up there, man, and people don't understand. Like, okay, yeah, you hooped at UNC, but that was a big deal. Like UNC, it's like the climate of college basketball is different. Like now you can take a chance on a guy like, okay, well, he's hungry and this, that, and the other. But back then it was like big schools took the best players from each state. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I think that's something that kind of gets undermined when people talk about your hoop career, in regards to the rap game and stuff like that. I think it gets undermined, like the kind of talent that you had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was just like I always tell people, I just love playing basketball growing up. Like even when doing music now, like basketball will forever be my first love, first passion.
Mm-hmm.
So I never even really had any aspirations to go to a North Carolina or a Kentucky or a Duke or whatever have you, as far as the quote unquote big schools.
Okay.
I just love playing hoop, you know what I'm saying? And God works in mysterious ways. So we were in my 10th grade year in high school. We were in Florida. We were in a tournament in Florida. And Coach Williams was there, and he was looking at Leon Poe.
Right.
And after the game, he just told my coach, he was like, man, that little guard you have, he's going to be a decent player one day. And so from that on, he started recruiting me. But Coach Williams was at Kansas at the time when that happened. So I was getting recruited by Kansas, and then they had lost. That was the year they lost the national championship to Melo and them at Syracuse. And when he went back to Carolina, I personally thought, like, man, they're not going to continue to recruit me because, that's Carolina or whatever. They'll probably be looking at some other people, which they were, of course. But they continued to recruit me. One thing led to another. My last three schools that I was interested in was Carolina, Kansas, and Arizona State. Yeah, I wound up going to Carolina, and the crazy story with that is when I took my visit to Arizona State first and then went to Kansas, and I was there. I don't know if you remember Russell Robinson.
Yeah,
I
played against Russ last year. Yeah, I played against Russ last year.
Okay, all good. So Russell Robinson was there. We were on our visit at the same time, and when we got back that Sunday, that next day at school, Monday, my mom called me during like fifth period, and she was just like, Russell just committed to Kansas. And Kansas only had one scholarship left. But at the time, Coach Self was still trying to figure out if he could get Russell and myself both to Kansas.
Right.
And then Carolina only had one scholarship left. And you talking about Sean Livingston, J.R. Smith at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight didn't know if he was going to go. You know what I'm saying? And Coach Williams basically said, like, first one, gives a verbal commit, that's what I'm going to give a scholarship to. So I was just in a situation where I didn't want to feel like I had to be forced to go to a school and not choose what school I wanted to go to. So when my mom called me and said that, she was like, what you want to do? And I was like, I'll go to Carolina. And she was like, you sure? She's like, you positive? I'm like, yeah, like what's the worst that could happen? You know what I'm saying? That's how I was thinking. It was great, man. Like, like anything, you have your ups and downs.
Right.
You have your good days, you have your bad days. But looking back on it, it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. Just even leading up to now with being a part of Jamla and doing the music, meeting Ninth and everybody in the state of North Carolina. So I just feel God has a funny way of working things out for us, man. So, I think it was all a blessing and dope. Like I don't take it for granted. I had a lot of fun and learned a lot in college and at the University of North Carolina. So
right.
It was cool. It was real cool, man. Real cool.
Yeah, and it's always like, especially back then, man. I mean, I still kind of feel this way now, but it's always tough when Cali boys go back east, though. You know what I'm saying? It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
It's like, even like, my guy, Antonio Kellogg, shout out to him, man. I hope if he listening, he got to hit me, man.
Bottom boy.
Hey, I miss that dude, man. He was killer, cold-blooded. But, it's like, when you went over there and then Tone went over there and then Marcus Johnson from my area, he went over there, it's just always,
Right.
you never know how it's going to work out, man, because the East and West Coast is so different. But I know at UNC, man, I mean, that's just, Marcus was telling me, different things about it. But one thing he did tell me about was them open gyms in the summertime was crazy as far as the talent.
Oh, yeah, crazy. And the thing about open gyms at UNC is dope is because, I mean, of course, you have the former players, whoever's playing at the or used to play, former players, and you have the current players, of course. But then, I mean, you'll have players from Duke slide over. Right. You'll have different people like, I remember Dominique Sutton that used to play at North Carolina Central. Mm-hmm. He came over here. And a lot of people stack could come back. Like I said, former players, actually, who was it? Kendall. Kendall was, he might still be, but I know he was practicing with the team this year. So it's always good to have people around, or family around, should I say, I remember when I was in school, Shaman was always around, King Rice, different people like that, even from like Eric Montrose, that's always around. Right. And just soaking up game from them, both on and off the court. So, yeah, those pickups stupid, though, I'm not going to lie.
Nah, I'm already knowing, man. Who got the better pickups, though? UNC or Duke? Summertime.
Me personally, I've never gone to Duke to play pickup. Okay. Yeah, I never went. But, like, when I was in school, like, DeMarcus Nelson, me and DeMarcus grew up together. DeMarcus,
that's my guy. He out here right now.
Okay, yeah. If you can, man, tell him I said hello, man.
I
give him my contact
info,
too, when you can.
Yeah, next time I see him, I sure will.
DeMarcus would slide over. Gerald Henderson and Wayne Ellington were real close. Mm-hmm. So Gerald would slide over from time to time. And it was other people from Duke that would slide over. So even with the whole Carolina Duke thing, when we play each other, that's a whole different thing. But
right.
In the grand scheme of things, man, we have a lot of respect for each other. And some of the players are cool with each other. So it was always good to get those good runs in during the summer.
Nah, I bet, man. But let's fast forward things to when you finished up over there. Now, how did your rap career start? Because most cats out of Carolina, man, they hooping in the league or they overseas getting that bag, man. So how did things pan out for you, and how did you get into the music game?
I used to always like rap growing up. I would play around on freestyle with my cousins or partners around school.
How old we talking?
Man, my first, and this is a crazy story, but AAU, I was like 8 or 9. Okay. And I was playing on the 12 and under team, and we had just left a food restaurant. We were in the van chilling before we drove back to the hotel. And I'll never forget that they were playing Elevators by Outkast.
Right.
And everybody was just in the van freestyling or whatever. And just being the baby of the bunch, I just want to fit in. You know what I'm saying? So I try to freestyle or whatever. Wasn't good at it at all. But then it's crazy, when I got home, I was just telling myself, like, oh, I could do this. And I just started writing, and it became a part of me. Not ever wanting to be a rapper, not ever wanting to do music seriously. I just had a passion for it. High school, I did the same thing. We would have things like Freestyle Fridays on campus,
right,
or in the hallway. You know what I'm saying? We call them baby functions because it really would be like a function in the hallway, and it's like it turned into a whole party off of freestyles and just making beats on the wall. But when I got to college, although, of course, I'm there for basketball, my teammates, they found out about, me being able to rap. Just found out about my talent when I was in college. And one by one, it seemed like they would just come to me. I know you love hoop, this and that, but I think you really have a gift with words, man, with music. And I still didn't think too much of it. So fast forward until when I graduated, I got invited to the Laker mini camp during the summer. But while I was there, my knee was giving me real bad trouble, which I always had. And so it was just bothering me. But before I went to LA, my barber, who was cutting the hair of this guy, was like, man, I know this guy that can rap, blase. He was like, who is he? He was like, Quentin Thomas. He's like, the basketball player? He's like, yeah. He's like, man, you know how that is, like, with basketball players that try to rap and this and that. He's like, no, man, he's nice. Like, just check him out. So he slid to our apartment, like, right before I went to LA. And I just played him some stuff that I just rapped over industry beats when I was home, like, summer prior to. And he loved it. And he was like, man, I want to introduce you to Ninth Wonder. I think he loved your stuff, this and that. I'm like, all right, whatever. and I wound up going to LA. Crazy thing about that, when I got to LA, like I told you earlier, my knee was messing with me, so I couldn't finish. And, so I didn't make the team or anything. That day when I found out that I got released from the camp, Ninth hit me.
Mm.
And Ninth was like, yo, where you at? This and that. And I'm like, I'm in LA, but I'll be back in Carolina soon. And this is when we had the studio was at North Carolina Central. So he was like, man, when you get back, just slide by the studio and we'll sit and talk. So I came by the studio, and I had that same CD I played for the other guy, and I handed it to him. And the first beat was like a Jay-Z beat. It's crazy that I'm even thinking this right now in the situation we're in. But it was like a Jay-Z beat. And I looked at me like, you sure about this? I'm like, yeah. And he played it, was nodding his head like for about 10, 15 seconds. Went to the next went to the next song. Same thing for about 10, 15 seconds, went to the next. Then he just stopped it. Listened to about a total of 30 seconds worth out of all of them. He just stopped it. He like, man, what you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, all this new to me as far as music and this and that.
Right.
It was like, man, you could be around. He's like, you could be around this whole summer. You could record with us. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see what goes from there. And next thing I know, I did a song with David Banner on NBA Live 2010 at the time, I believe. And then, Jamla came about. Ninth asked me if I wanted to be a part of Jamla. I said, yeah, man. And, the rest was history. And now we're here where we are right now, 2017, with the release of East 14th and Layla's Wisdom and Myers' part, Wisdom is Power Tour coming up. So, yeah, that's how the story came about.
Nah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy how that all went down, man. Like, hey, just like you said earlier, God working mysterious ways, man. Like the Laker thing didn't,
all the time.
Laker thing didn't work out. Then Ninth hit you out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's just crazy how that whole thing came about, man. I wasn't really expecting that. I really wasn't expecting that. But early in your career, like, how like a lot of like rappers, when they start out, they got to push their albums through DJs or whatever it is, but they usually do it through their hometowns. Was you doing it through your hometown, or was you doing it in North Carolina because you was in North Carolina? Like, how did that come about?
I was kind of back and forth because, at the time I was living in North Carolina, but then I wound up moving back to Oakland probably a year later.
Okay.
And I just remember when I went back to Oakland, I had a few people that was doing music. A lot of people do music back home, but I had a few friends that was doing music, so I would do stuff with them. And even before I left, Ninth was just like, man, if you can reach out to different people and just, try to build a buzz in your home city with just people and just working with. So I did that with a few people. But other than that, man, to be real, like, I really was just, if it wasn't Jamla or if it wasn't with the few people back home, I would just be to myself, and just be zoning out and doing projects. And that, with me being away from Jamla when I was in Oakland, I didn't want to feel like I wasn't doing nothing, or I didn't want to give Ninth the feeling like I wasn't working. So I started doing this blended series. And so it was just taking songs of industry beats and this and that and just rapping over them. So I did like two of those. I did a blended 1, blended 2, and then I did a blended 3, but the blended 3 was mainly all original beats,
Okay.
So I was doing that, even before the Death Threats and Love Notes, Rated Oakland, Trouble Man, all of that. But yeah, I always just, once I ran in the Ninth and then came back home, it was kind of like back and forth from Oakland to California throughout the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years. But yeah, now I'm back out here living in North Carolina now, so closer to everything.
Okay, yeah, because one thing I always notice, like, the Bay is like super loyal for their artists. You know what I'm saying? They put them on. You know what I'm saying? And I always wondered that because when cats they go to school elsewhere, that's kind of becomes home base because that's kind of where you become a man, where you get most of your connections and stuff. So
right,
I had just been wondering about that. But now, like, how you feel about this album compared to let's say like Rated Oakland and some of your previous projects? What excites you about this album?
First thing, I think it just excites me because I know everybody has been thinking like this is my album, but actually like this is just the EP. Like I'm working on an album for possibly next year or maybe 2019. We'll see. Okay. But I think for this, man, I can be honest and say for me personally, I feel like it's my best piece of work thus far. But more importantly, I feel like it represents for me the best out of everything. I think this is like the true introduction of who Q is or who GQ is. And I feel like if you know me and you listen to this project, you'll be like, yeah, that's Q. And if you don't know me, at the end of the project, you'll feel like, damn, I know Q.
Okay.
Or I feel like I know Q. So I think it's personal. It's definitely the most personal that I've wrote out of everything. It's personal, and thus far, just from the responses, I think people are relating to it in a positive way. So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving that East 14th is out, and I like the music, and hopefully people continue to like the music as well.
Hey man, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, man. Like, this is no smoke. Like, cause last year, like I said, like I was in the locker room, I just asked Marcus, I was like, yo, what happened to Quentin Thomas? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is. And he told me he was rapping. I was like, yeah, I did remember hearing something about you rapping. And, but I didn't listen to anything. And then I had just went through your page or whatever. And then, I seen, you were dropping the EP, and I went and I listened to it, and I was like, yo, this dude he for real got bars. You know what I mean? I love music. I like to consider myself a music head. I'm not really a music head. I don't really know the history like that, but I listen to music all day long, man. And like legit, like I was just listening to it like earlier, like with my wife and stuff, and she was like, I was laughing at some of your bars and stuff like that. She was like, you really like this? I was like, yeah, I really do like this. I'm not just interviewing just cause, like, you know what I'm saying? But
I appreciate that, man.
Nah, for real, man. Like I think it's super dope, man. I love Jamla. I became like a Rhapsody fan when I heard her on To Pimp a Butterfly. And, I started listening to her stuff. I went back and downloaded She Got Game and everything after that. And, Ninth Wonder is Ninth Wonder, man. He's just amazing. But, nah, man, I really enjoyed this album. And then I went back, I backtracked, and I went to Rated Oakland. Rated Oakland got some heat on there too, though. Like Rated Oakland got some heat on there too. What's your favorite track on East 14th though? Like I got a few of them, but what's your favorite?
Man, I couldn't even tell you. For me, it probably will change throughout the weeks. I can honestly say though, like I've been listening. I'm starting to get to the point where I have, but especially for this project, I listen to it as though it wasn't me. Mm-hmm. Like I get caught up in just listening to it and just getting caught up in the music. But as far as a favorite, I like Do You. Right. I like East 14th. I like Stay. What You Doing? Like I probably like all right now. I probably like all of them. One song I can say is that like it's a love-hate relationship for me personally is the last one, and that's Away From You.
And why is that?
And that's just a love-hate relationship because of the scenario. Like, it was a close friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And mainly, like, the close friend that really is a big part, if not the main part of me even doing music now. Like, he was always the one pushing me the most to do it, or encouraging me the most to do it, should I say. And in a situation where, radical situation, man, where he killed his baby mama and he killed himself. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where it was like, I was just angry. I was just angry at him. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't even want to write. I didn't want to write nothing about it. I didn't want to do no song about it. But something just came. It could have been him. But it was just something telling me like, just do it. And to this day, man, like I told somebody the other day on Instagram or Twitter, they were saying how much they enjoyed the song and felt it. And I was just like, man, that's probably one of the hardest or the hardest song that I've had to put together and actually record to date so far. But I feel it was needed. It was needed. It was a way for me to just vent and release a lot of that anger, frustration, confusion. But the blessing in it is that even with something as crazy as that situation was, I still have people, or I had people coming to me and saying, man, like, I was in a similar situation like that, or, I've lost a lot of people, unfortunately. And so, I was able to relate to it. So things like that it always outweighs the less because I see how impactful it can be for people other than just myself. But,
right.
Yeah, I like so many different songs on it, man. Like, I like Acting Like, everything's the same.
Still like fire, dude.
Yeah. So, like what I can say is that I wanted it to be an experience for people when they listen to it.
Okay.
I always tell people, I don't want people to hear my music. I want them to feel it. I want them to feel it. I want them to see the pictures I'm painting. And I think it did that. I think it touched a lot of different emotions on the whole project. It makes people think, it makes people engaged into the actual songs and seeing what's going on. Like I said, just from the pictures painted. But, I treat it, it's crazy because I treat music just like basketball. So it's like, even with my music, I treat it like it's film. So I'll listen to it over and over and critique and be like, I could have changed that, or I could have did this. So
Right.
even from here, it's just all about getting better, man, and trying to put out the best product from me as an artist, and hopefully it continues to reach people and touch people.
Right. Nah, man, I think it's like I said, man, I think it's a dope project, man. I personally,
Thanks, man.
I like acting like, I like Laundry Day, East 14th, FTGU, man. There's a lot of heat on there. Take Care is so smooth, you know what I'm saying? How could you skip over Take Care? Like, I probably played the album, since I downloaded it, like I got it on my phone, Apple Music, like I probably downloaded it. I mean, I probably listened to it probably like, at least 6 times, you know what I'm saying? I listened to it like twice today, like just getting ready for the interview, just seeing if there's something I want to bring up or whatever it is. But, just on my own, cooking breakfast, scrambling them eggs, you know what I'm saying? I've been bumping it, man. But I want to move forward real quick. As we was talking about before we got on the line, man, like, rapping and hooping has always been synonymous. It's always been like a trend. And from what I've seen, like, I feel like Damian Lillard has elevated the expectations when it comes to NBA rappers.
Right.
Because I just seen Iman Shumpert had a freestyle the other day. And that wasn't Iman Shumpert from a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the same guy. So what you think, Dave, also from Oakland, what do you think, Dave's impact has been on NBA rappers coming out?
I think music in general is just one of those things that a lot of people possess different talents with. I think it's probably NBA more than just, the ones that we know about. It's probably other NBA players, NFL players. It's a lot of people that could, whether rap, play an instrument, sing, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them still have a passion for it away from what they do, So, I mean, it's for me, it's cool. Like, even with somebody like Dame, I just love, like, what they're doing for home, what they're able to do for themselves, for their family, and go from there. So anything else is just a plus in my eyes. So, I mean, if they enjoy doing it, that's what they love to do. More power to them, man. More power to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dame is like one of the more legit rappers I've seen, bars wise, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
In recent in history period, you know what I'm saying? He tried, some have failed. Let's not forget, Allen Iverson had his little stint. He had his little stint. I was downloading his joint on Napster. I remember that. I was downloading
Napster.
I was downloading AI's joint on Napster back in the day, or LimeWire, one of them joints. But
for real.
But for you, man, I feel like a collab with Dame is like inevitable, man. Like, both of y'all from Oakland, both of y'all got bars. Right. Like, I feel like that has to happen at some point.
Yeah, people have been asking me about it. I don't know if they've been asking Dame about it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And even like me and Dame, like, we didn't grow up with each other because I was older.
Generations, right?
Yeah, but we knew, like, I know Dame. I know his family. Like, when we see each other, it's all love and stuff like that. But I always tell people, like, if the time presents itself and the opportunity for both of us to do something like that, I definitely wouldn't mind it. If that's something that we'd be able to work out. But we'll see.
Nah, that would be cool, man. I think that'll be something really hot, man. I think, just for the hoop and the rap culture, man, just tying it all together, because it's not like it's just two bums over there spitting. It's not like it's just me and the homies. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's two cats that really, like, can do this. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think that would be special.
Yeah. I agree. I think it could. It possibly could, like, if that's to happen. But, just with Dame in general, man, I always just wish the best for him. Everybody from home, that's especially Oakland, like, I'm prideful when it comes to home, man. So it's like home, everything from the Warriors to the Raiders. Even East 14th, I named it East 14th because with me being from East Oakland, East 14th is like one of the longest streets in Oakland. and it reaches like through 3, maybe even 4 other cities.
Right.
So I thought it would be special to do something for everybody, but also target home. So yeah, man, we'll definitely see if Dame and I wind up doing something down the road.
Hey man, you Baycats are so loyal to y'all soil. Y'all hella loyal, bro. Like it's crazy, but hey man, I'm with it, man. I understand it, man. I love the Bay. Like I said, man, back when I was in the Bay, when I was in college, man, like I was going through my hood rat phase. So I was in Kimball's Carnival. I was at First Saturday.
You was really in the town though.
I was really in there, man. I was in Circle O on Sat. Man, I was everywhere, bro. Like I was bouncing around, hopping the bridge. I was out there, man. So I got some side shows in me. I got some pepper spray in me. I got a little bit. Oh,
you good then? You feel me? You town.
Hey man, people say I got my Bay card, man, because I was out there trying to get it, man. I was trying to take it all in. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't mad at you, bro. That's love.
Nah, man. But I want to. Next thing I want to talk about, man, is the one thing I love about your tracks and your lyrics and everything is the hoop references, and that's the same thing that Rhapsody. She make a lot of hoop references as well, and I've read about her love for basketball and how she came up and stuff like that. But is that something that y'all, and then Knife too? You know what I'm saying? Is that something that y'all all talk about at Jamla? Like y'all talk hoop and debate? Because I see you must have bragging rights. I mean, you from Oakland, the Warriors are killing right now. Like,
right? We I think we just sports heads, honestly.
Yeah.
Knife, man, like. Knife got one of those minds where, like, if you bring up, like, Knife is a big Jordan fan.
Mm-hmm.
Knife probably knows every stat you could ever think of Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to sports and stuff, we just have a respect for each other. And it's funny because people think, because I went to Carolina, and I think it's me, Heather Victoria, maybe one more person that are Carolina fans around the studio. But pretty much everybody else, except E. Jones, is Georgetown. Everybody else is Duke.
Okay.
So people would think like, oh, I know you guys be bumping heads and talking smack back and forth. But I mean, I think the only time that comes about, is usually when the game comes up a little bit. And even then, I don't really do too much talking. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll talk from time to time just because it's just in me, the town in me. So I'll talk my trash. But I think with me rapping Knife, though, just to answer your question, I think it's just we always talk about sports. Just in general. I know me and Knife talk about hoop a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about football, whatever it may be. So sports references I think are just naturally in us. I don't ever think, oh man, I want to write about this particular basketball player. I think a lot of things are just natural. Yeah, it just comes to mind for us. So yeah, I think we're just big sports heads, man. Just sports junkies in general.
Okay, now are you let's keep it 100 right now. Are you a bandwagon Warriors fan? Are you always been that way, or you just not a Warriors fan?
Nah, look, I gotta tell you straight up, I done been around. I didn't been a Warriors fan when we had. I'm not even gonna give you the Tim Hardaway's and Chris Mullins.
Okay.
I was a Warrior fan when we had Ronnie Cycli, Chris Gatlin, Avery Johnson, Keith Jennings, Joe Smith. When Todd Fuller from NC State was our power forward / center, like. I've been rocking with my Warriors for a minute.
Tough. Like, you took it back.
When we got free, when they used to get free chalupas to everybody when the Warriors score 100.
100, right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, Like that's cute. That's where I was at. But it's just dope to see, even through all those years, and we had rough years, really rough years. Just the loyalty that was always there from the fans.
Right.
And to see the success the team is having now. And looking from the outside in, man, like, I know they're dope basketball players, and, we all know them as world champions, but they're just great men in the community. Like, they're great dudes in the community.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot for Oakland and the Bay Area. They're always, like, around kids and helping and stuff like that. So it's just dope to have not only people who are amazing, amazing athletes, but just amazing people, So the city is just different. Like I always tell people, you kind of feel it when a team or teams in a particular city are playing well or doing well.
Right.
The city just has a certain buzz to it.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I remember like when Atlanta was going crazy, like with the football team and the Hawks were doing well one particular year. And I happened to go to Atlanta, and you could just tell, like, people were just around. Everybody was speaking. Everybody was happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good feeling. So it's dope to see the Warriors doing what they're doing. And as a kid, I used to always say, man, just while I'm living, I just want to see them win one championship and let it be in Oakland.
Yeah.
So the fact that they gave me two, you know, whatever happens after this, I'm cool. I would love to see them continue to win, but I'm cool. Like, I got my two in.
Nah, man, it looked like they might get three, man. I mean, I'm
hoping so.
I remember the We Believe season, like back, I think it was like 2007 when they had B Diddy and Stack Jackson, all them, and I had a hookup with the tickets from Stanford or whatnot, and also Mr. Fab had the same hookup. So like the dude who owned the seats, that he was selling Mr. Fab, and then sometimes he'd just invite me, so I'd be sitting next to Fab at the games, man. And Fab would go crazy on like the players, like, and he was like, you could just see like the passion, like, and I'm like, yo, this ain't no new fan right here. I'm like, this dude been a fan for a minute, man. And it used to, that was one thing that always struck me, man, was the passion of the Warrior fans, man. Like, you know, even if they in the nosebleeds or whatever, you know,
right.
It didn't matter. Like they bled, they died for that team, man. And I always thought that was dope. But that goes back to, like I was saying, man, like Bay Area people are loyal to the Bay. Like regardless of what it is, the Raiders, the Warriors, you know, good rappers, bad rappers, it don't matter, man. Traffic, the tolls, you know what I'm saying? They loyal, man. They some loyal people, man.
Yeah, we real prideful, man. Like, we real prideful, but I think that's what gives us that, I don't want to say leverage, but I think that's just what gives us that extra little oomph just in life. Being from Oakland, being from the Bay Area, we exposed to so much different stuff. And just like, you know, that California vibe almost, but Oakland is just real unique. But yeah, we prideful, man. Like, we love home. I love home.
Hey, nothing wrong with it, man. I got two more questions. One rap question, one hoop question. Which one you want first?
Either or. We go with the rap one first.
All right, the rap one, man. Like, all right, so I always wanted to do this because I'm the type, like, I listen to lyrics. I try to understand what the rappers are saying. I try to understand, like, yo, did this really happen or is he just trying to rhyme? Like, you know what I'm saying? I overthink stuff all the time.
Right.
So, and Can't Run, you had a line that stuck out to me, you know what I'm saying? And I feel, you know, I know what it meant to me. I just want to know what it meant to you. Is when you said, you know, learned about snakes being a gym rat.
Yeah.
I thought it was dope because, you know, for me, I felt like, you know, it's just kind of one of them things, like when you focused and you kind of in your zone, you know, sometimes, you know, the wrong people try to pull you out, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, people try to take you off your grind or whatever it is, whether it be a male or female, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of the premise that I took from it. But what was you thinking when you wrote that, or was it an experience, or did it just rhyme? Like, what was going through your head with that one?
It was more so just piggybacking off you said. I guess and you play hoops, so you definitely can relate. And we see it even earlier now. When we played AAU, we saw it, but now it's like you got social media, you got this and that, and you just see a lot of just foul stuff, man. Like just dealing with kids, and then of course it goes up to the next level from high school, college to NBA. But it was just like it was so much stuff I learned, and from just being a gym rat, just playing hoop, where it was like, okay, I see how some people can really be. Like, it's really a lot of snakes just in this arena, you know, as far as basketball. So that's why I said learn about snakes being a gym rat. So it also carries over to music. And even when I'm in ninth, that was a lot of the things that he was telling me, where it was like, man, you have an advantage because not only did you play ball your whole life and you understand, you know, team concepts and this and that, but because of where you played, you were exposed to different things, and you learned a lot of different things, you know, that you could carry over to music, whether it be work ethic, whether it be showing up on time, you know, studying. You know, it's just different things that carried over, but that definitely came from just hoop. seeing how people can be and how they can be, whether it be conniving or just opportunists.
Right.
But I learned a lot of that just from playing hoop, though.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, there's a lot of people out here making money off these kids. I just had a podcast last week, man. We were just talking about, like, when you play in middle school, somebody's making money off of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody, whoever's putting on that tournament is making money off these little kids hooping or off the biggest player and stuff like that. And it's, it's kind of crazy. Like my boy was saying, he was like, yo, we need a 401k. Like, you give 20 of your years to this game, like your body, this, that, and the other. And, you walk away with nothing. But that kind of lead me to this other question real quick is, with the amount of time, like now think about the amount of time you put into rap and to making yourself a better rapper. And, I'm not sure what it is you do. I mean, maybe you read the dictionary. Maybe you could share that. That would be kind of dope. But it's like, what do you think you could do the same thing while hooping? You know what I'm saying? Because in hoop, you got to put in a lot of time as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it would be hard, man. I always joke with Ninth. I always tell him, I'm like, man, if I would have met y'all when I was in school, I might have failed out of school because I would just been always trying to be at the studio. Because at that time, it became therapeutic when I was in college. Like there used to be times where I couldn't sleep, and we might have practice at like 9 in the morning, something like that. But I would have to like write something, whether it be a rap or whatever. Just just get that off my chest, and then I'd be cool. So it was like therapy for me. Do I think you could do both at the same time? I think you could. I think it's just tough because both demand so much, like you just said earlier. Being a gym rat, going back to being a gym rat, we know how, you see how people like Steph and Clay, and you see how Kyrie handles is, or you see how LeBron has just been 15 years in the league and still being able to dominate and do things he's doing. Like, that's not just from them playing around. Or you're not, just walking through the motions. Like, it's a lot of dedication and sacrifice and a lot of things. So the same way goes for music. It's been years of sacrifice, years of maybe not knowing if you might eat tonight, or maybe you saving money for this, or not even knowing if you're going to be able to do this. But again, just going back to saying how good God is and how he works in mysterious ways. When you start seeing things unfold and blossoming, that's when it's like, okay, it was all worth it, and it's continuing to be all worth it. But I think you could do, two of the same. I mean, Dame does both of them, so.
But what do you do to improve as a rapper?
I'm always working, or at least trying to. Like I'm big on work ethic, but I don't look at it as work because it's something I love to do with music. It is so. Like a lot of people think they'll say like, you read a lot, huh? I'm like, not really. Like, I mean, I read, but I wouldn't sit here and say like I go through a whole bunch of books a year or books a month.
Right.
I'm just really observant. I pay attention to a lot of things, and it's weird because I told Rap maybe a couple months ago, I'm like, is it bad that every time I see something or hear something, I try to turn it into a rap? She just laughed, and she was just like, no, that's just in you. Like, that's how you know it's just in you.
That's dope.
So, I mean, I study other artists, man, like from the good artists to the whack artists, like the artists I don't feel, to the greats. Like, I study everything, and I treat it just like hoop. I study, I practice, constantly recording, constantly writing. It's like I always tell people, it's almost like basketball again, where everybody's not going to see every shot you took in the gym.
Right.
Or they're not going to see every shot you made. They're not going to see every shot you missed. All they're going to see is that final product. So for me, it's like, we always call it getting up shots. That's what Cash call it.
Okay.
From the Soul Council. He's like, man, we in the studio, we getting up shots. So regardless if somebody hears it, if somebody doesn't, it's going to make for that moment to, I can knock this shot down. Or I can make sure this song is legit and people will feel this song. So I think that's how I just, I take it. I stand strong and always want to get better, man. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, I always want to keep getting better. I don't want to get complacent. And one thing I told myself when I first started doing music is that I always want to keep that hunger.
Okay.
I always want to stay hungry. Even when success comes, if money comes and everything else, like I still want to keep that hunger in some way. So that's my goal right now, man. So hopefully I can continue to do that.
I here goes a grassroots question for you though. When you in the car, you listening to music, and that last 30 seconds of the song come on, where it's just the instrumental, you ripping that?
Every now and then I do. Every now and then I do. Every now and then I do. I mean, that's kind of just like a
reaction,
you know,
right?
It's just like a reaction. You know how the beat come on, or somebody hit you with the you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you ain't gonna spit nothing. So it's, I mean, and that's kind of how I started rapping. Like, you know, my partners and stuff, they'd always gas me like,
right,
you gotta spit on this, you gotta spit on this, you gotta. So even with that, man, like they keep me driven. You know what I'm saying? They keep me going. They don't let me just settle. You know, and even when I'm writing, like, it'll be times where I might have a metaphor or simile or a line in my head, but I'm like, nah, that's too simple. Okay. Or I might be like, nah, that's too complicated. Like, it just always got to be right for me, at least at the time. And what I always like making people think. Like, if my music makes people think, right, or like you said, like, you can listen to it and you'll laugh, you'll chuckle. And for me, when I see people do that or hear people do it, I'm like, cool. Like, that means they really engaged into it. Like, they really listen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's dope, though.
Nah, that's what's up, man. All right, man. My last question, though, man, is back to the court. What was your best basketball moment?
Best basketball moment? That's tough, man. I mean, of course, winning the national championship in 2005, being a part of that team. High school was fun. Like, I always tell people, high school was one of the best times. AAU was fun. The one thing I could say about best basketball moment, Clemson.
Okay.
I'll give you two. One is on the court, one's off. Clemson probably was one of the best basketball moments just because of how the situation kind of occurred. Like, Ty Lawson that got hurt that year. Bobby had tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was the only point guard. Actually, me and Marcus was running point guard, and Marcus was hurt at the time, his foot or something. We played Kansas. We went in double overtime. We had went in overtime with them at Clemson. We had went in overtime with them, and Wayne hit a three close to end the game, close to the buzzer. So that was like a heartbreaker for them. And then when we played, you know, we didn't have Ty, we didn't have Bobby, so I know they were just probably licking their chops like, okay, they're a few men down. You know, and Clemson always had a strong team, right. You know, so they were pressing the whole game, and they were up by like 20, and they were up by like 11 or 12 with 3 minutes left in the game. And we came back, went in double overtime, and that was a big feeling. I think just for all of us, just to go through adversity that we were going through at that time in the season. But then the other thing, I think my best basketball moment is just the relationships I built through hoop. You know what I'm saying? Just like even talking to you on here, where it's like, you know, a lot of people that I grew up with just because you hooped.
Right.
And we know a lot of the same people just from a sport, you know what I'm saying, like a basketball. So that's the dopest thing, man, that I got. You know, a lot of people probably be like, think it's automatically games. And it's a lot of games I probably could go down the list in moments. But I think it's really just a relationship.
I agree with you, man. Like, one thing I always, you know, somebody asked me like back in college or right after college, they was like, what do you see when you see this basketball? And like, I was like, well, if we talking figuratively, like, I see a key, you know what I'm saying? It opens so many doors to, you know, just different avenues, different, like the rap game, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, other people, different business opportunities, and, you know, you just meet, you know, hella people and stuff. And the basketball world's so small, man. And
yeah, it is.
It's definitely a dope thing, man. But I appreciate you taking the time to hop on this, man. Like, it was dope, man. I'm gonna say this is probably like my favorite because, you know, we got to talk about a little bit more than just hoop. You know what I'm saying? This is probably one of my favorite episodes, man. This was really dope, man. Hey, I was gonna ask you to freestyle, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of want to, like, maybe like a year or two down the road, you know, when we could do it in person on video, because I want to hop in. You know what I'm saying? You know, we gotta have the same beat. We gotta hop on the same beat. I'm gonna let you know. I used to rap. Like, I used to freestyle. Like,
I figured you did though. Like, I don't know why. I just got the vibe that you did. So.
Hey, dead ass. Like, okay, so like in high school, like the homies, like me and the homies we used to battle each other all the time. So he would call me and he'd be like, "Yo, what's up?" I'll be like, "Yo, what up?" He'd be like, who with you? I'll be like, yo, Justin with me. He's like, all right, I'm going to call back. Don't answer. I'm about to rip both of y'all on the voicemail. He would call back, leave a 3-minute voicemail. Then I call him, leave a 3-minute voicemail, just flowing. And, when I got to Stanford, I got into a rap battle at Stanford, at Battle of the Bay, and, some other stuff. And then since then, I retired. I retired for a while, but, you kind of inspired me, man. I'm about to start getting those last 20 seconds in on the radio. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's dope. You took it back with the voicemails, bro, because we used to do that for sure. Like, I used to just call all my partners, leave like 2-minute raps on their voicemails. Back in the day, when everybody had sidekicks and everybody had aim. We'd be leaving freestyle, like rapping through back and forth to aim, man. Like, it was serious. Like, and I think that's what's just so dope to me and a lot of my partners. We shake our heads just about all the stuff we used to do, and it leads up to what we're doing now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
That was dope.
Nah, it is, man. But I wish you sincerely, man, from the bottom of my heart, man, I wish you all the success. Man, just
Thank you, man.
keep grinding,
Likewise,
man.
bro.
You got a new fan, brother. So, I'm gonna be on all your stuff, man. Tell Rhapsody she's my favorite female rapper, man. Most underrated.
I'm gonna tell her.
All right, she's legit my favorite female rapper, man. There's no BS, and man, just keep grinding, bro, man. Just keep grinding. Don't stop.
Will do, man. And again, bro, just thanks for having me on your podcast and just taking this time with me.
All right, all good, man. And all the listeners back home, go get East 14th. It's on iTunes, Spotify. It's on everything, Apple Music, wherever you can get it, man.
Google Play.
Google Play, man. It's $10, man. You spend more than that on Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about it. You're gonna enjoy it. So, everybody, please please go and get that and stay tuned to what we got next.
Stepping on the fast break. Euro steps.